Hello and welcome to the first Hand with Art with me, Mark Ashdown. Now for this first video, all I'm going to do is show you how you can use a pencil, a rubber, on a piece of paper to draw what you see in the reflection in this lamp. Okay, so here's the lamp that I'm going to be drawing, and before I start, the same as for any of you, if you're going to be drawing something, it's really important that you actually get your object in the place that looks right for what you want. So I'm just going to see if I can get it in the right position first. And obviously with this object, the image is actually the reflection of the room, so I'm just getting it so that the image that I see in the reflection works. I'll put a still photo of what I was showing you through the camera there in the corner, just so you can see as I'm drawing what it is that I can actually see. Although it's important to remember that whilst there's a photo there, this is from observation, and I always recommend at this stage, if you're drawing objects like this, not to just take photos and copy the photos, but actually see the objects in front of you and really hone those observational skills. Now if you're doing a drawing like this, I'd recommend you make a start really lightly with the pencil. Don't need to go in too hard with thick outlines or anything. Just go in softly with the pencil and get light edges. Feel your way into the image and plot out generally where things are. I'm not going to be starting in just one little area with lots of detail and working my way out, but instead look at the image as a whole, build up the range of tones using cross-hatching, and then gradually build the image as we go. About halfway through, I'd say, and I've been building up most of the tonal areas. Mostly you can see lots of mid-tones, but I've just started to introduce some of the darker, more precise areas like you can see around this side. I'm just adapting the cylindrical bit at the top here so that it's in line with the main shape. I've had to change the main shape quite a bit throughout the first bit of the drawing, and now the cylinder is just making sure it's in line and that all of the curves around the cylinder work well with the rest of the image. Now just coming back to why I'm actually drawing this reflective object using pencil at this stage, is I'm really just thinking about putting it into the context of an investigation, a project if you like. It might be that you're doing an investigation on the theme of distortion, for example. Reflection could be an approach, refraction of light and so on. And this might be the sort of thing that you do near the beginning. It might not be that the most perfect outcomes are done in pencil, but it's a good place to start. I might learn some things, and it's what we can learn from this and move on to that really matters. In fact, even before doing this drawing, I did a series of really quick sketches in my A5 sketchbook. Here you can see I used a bit of fine liner, pencil, biro, just to do really quick, 10-15 minute sketches of what I see around the house. There was a corkscrew, which had interesting reflections, and then I also filled up this wine glass with some water and then drew it using biro. This helped me see both reflection and refraction of light from the one object. When it came to doing a slightly more sustained drawing for this video, I ended up choosing this lamp. Really I chose it because of its simplicity, its clarity, and the way it captures pretty much everything within the room. Interestingly, it does actually go beyond the idea of just an object. In fact, this subject matter as a drawing could come under lots of different sorts of areas. Still life, for example. However, if you look further, because it's a reflection of the room, it's actually about environments. The fact that you can see yourself in the reflection too means it comes under self-portraiture and identity. So if you think about it, it could be taken a step further in subsequent artwork through thinking about the objects which are in the image. Do they say something about you, for example? A huge inspiration for this drawing is Hand with a Reflective Sphere, which is a lithograph by the Dutch artist MC Escher. And in fact, distorted reflection is something that's been looked at by many artists in so many different ways over the years in art history, stretching back to Jan van Eyck's The Arnolfini portrait from 1434. And the Mexican artist Robert Montenegro painted a whole series of self-portraits in a distorted reflection. Now, artwork from these artists, as well as lots of other relevant examples, are listed both at the end of this video and in the description below. So if you're interested in developing your ideas further, it's well worth a look and seeing what else is possible. Coming back to my own drawing here, I'm just starting to work back into the face and getting the features more detailed and precise. And what I'm also doing is going around tweaking things. It's basically like tweaking the contrast of the image. So the darkest bits go dark, and then I'm just looking at the extreme highlights and using the rubber just to pick them out so that they really ping out at you. The other thing is, I said at the beginning that I was using just a pencil and a rubber. I found that this 6B was actually really effective at getting the dark tones really dark, because a 6B is a very soft pencil and great for getting the darkest tones in. Having said that, it did make lots of these midtones quite grainy, and it's harder to get the really, really smooth shading as such. If I wanted to get something a little bit smoother at the beginning, a bit lighter and detailed, I could have started the drawing with much harder pencils and then worked my way up towards the softer, darker ones. Now on the whole, I think the drawing's been quite effective. In particular, I like the way the light's coming through the window, and you can see shadows coming off the legs on some of the stands here. I think the rubber's been really effective at bringing out the highlights, and I think if I were to develop this a bit further in future pieces of artwork, I might try creating a mid-tone base with graphite first, and then using the rubber to bring out the highlights from that, as well as the pencil to bring the darker tones out. I also think it'd be great to do this sort of exercise again, but on a much larger scale, in which case charcoals might be more appropriate, and I think it'd be really interesting to see how effective it is if it was done in a more loose, expressive manner. Now I hope after having seen this, you're all inspired to go away and do some drawings of your own. Look around the house, see what you can find that's really reflective that you can do drawings of. Have a look at the artists who I suggest at the end of this video and see how they inspire you to create really great stuff in your own work. Enjoy your art, and until then, goodbye.